So here we have the equation of a parabola. We want to find the x-intercepts and the vertex. So two separate things, we'll have to do them separately, but let's look at x-intercepts first. So think this is a parabola, it opens down. And usually kind of regardless, sometimes you don't have x-intercepts because notice it could be one that's like down here and so it wouldn't even cross the x. But normally picture what happens is you have points like this, places where it crosses the x-axis. Well, think to be an x-intercept, x could be anything, but y has got to be 0 because if you go up and down at all, you're not on the x-axis anymore. And so how do I find x-intercepts? Well, I set y equal to 0 because I know what I'm asking really is what x values give you an output or a height or a y value of 0. So I set my whole equation equal to 0, and then I could factor or use quadratic formula or complete the square, whatever I want. If it factors, that's probably the easiest. Now, all these negatives might be bothering you, but notice now you have an equation. You can do anything you want to both sides. So you could multiply or divide by -1, and then it'll cancel all these negatives. And nice thing is, it'll still be equal to 0, right? 0 times or divided by anything is 0. So plus 4x plus 4. So can I get this to factor? Maybe x plus 2 times x plus 2? All right, so notice that gives me two answers, but they happen to be the same answer. It's -2 and -2. So what does that mean for x-intercepts? Well, it looks like there's only one of them, right? -2, 0, or -2. And think about what that would look like on a graph. It's because it might only touch the x-axis at one point, like this, at -2. So you can get one answer, you can get two, you can get none for x-intercepts. It depends on how the graph looks. All right, so now we want to find the vertex. And so vertex always happens at -b over 2a. And so I'll just plug that in. Here I have -4, right? -b and b is -4. And then 2 times a is -1, the number that's in front of x squared. So this looks like 4 divided by -2, so -2. All right, but the vertex is a point that only tells us half of the point. How can I figure out the rest? We'll plug -2 into this equation. Now, especially with all these negatives, I'm going to be careful to do the thing where I leave a blank space for whatever I'm going to plug in. So wherever there was an x, I left a blank. That way, when I plug in -2, I'm really careful about order of operations. So -2 squared is +4. So notice how that doesn't affect that front negative. And then this is -4 times -2, so plus 8 minus 4. And so you end up with -2, 0. And so notice when we were talking about earlier, what's the shape of this look like? And for it to touch at one point, this point would have to be the vertex. But just coincidentally, there you got one x-intercept also happens to be your vertex.